Welcome to another episode of the Trailblazing Texas podcast. I'm really pumped about this next episode and can't wait to get it kicked off. Today we have a legend in the Texas hiking community. He's a husband, a father, and the owner founder of, in my opinion, the best ultralight gear company that exists. All their products are made in Texas by his very own hands. So stay tuned, as I really know you're going to enjoy this next episode. All right, welcome back and welcome to the Trailblazing Texas podcast. I believe we are in episode number 7. And today, as I said in the intro, we have a very special guest, a legend in the Texas hiking community, owner, founder. Oh, I believe so. He is the owner and founder of Trekker Joe's and my favorite gear company, and not because he's from Texas, not because it's made in Texas, not because he makes it, just because it is awesome gear. Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're super stoked to be here.
Cool. So just before we get started, and I kind of want to handle this and we talked about 2 sections. One, getting to know Trekker Joe's, and then getting to know Joe, as a Texas hiker and backpacker. But before we start, this is a really funny story. So before we met, like, I had no idea that you and I were part of probably all the Facebook groups together. Like, we didn't know each other. And
Yeah.
so, Lone Star Hiking Trail, Texas Hiking Community, Guadalupe for sure. And I believe it was on the Guadalupe backcountry. I was reading a post and someone said something about your gear. And I was like, there's somebody in Texas that makes gear. And I made the post like, who in the heck makes gear? And then I think it was Todd goes, Joe, he makes the best dang gear there is. And I'm like, what? And then he, Trekker Joe's. And I'm like, oh my God. So I went to your website and started looking at the products. And I'm like, I have all these products in my garage grown gear wish list or account. So I went over to their website and I was going to cancel it all. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, wait, this is all Trekker Joe's stuff. So I had already picked your stuff with garage grown gear, not realizing that. So anyway, I canceled the shopping cart and then bought all my stuff with you. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so it was just funny. And then, we pretty much talk, I don't know, a couple of times a week for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I know we were in. I remember seeing your name back in 3-something years ago when I was starting a Lone Star.
Yeah, you just
Doing
had an
that in that
anniversary of
hiking
through
group.
hiking it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
saw
Yeah, it was
that
3 years
on
ago.
Facebook.
Today was, or yesterday or something was the date of finishing that.
Yeah. All right, before we get started, let's plug. I love your company. I love what you guys stand for, and I have a lot of gear, a lot of ultralight gear. I have hyperlight Z packs, ultras. Like I have never bought a piece of gear like some of your your gear that you make that were truly game changers. So websites, whatever you want to do this first couple of minutes, let us have it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and thanks. Again, you guys have been really instrumental in kind of in supporting um, what we're trying to do. Getting the word out there for other people. That seems to be a lot of our business right now is word to mouth kind of. So
No.
it's been pretty cool little beginning here. But yeah, I mean, so we're crafting ultralight gear, but we're trying to make things that, I mean, ultralight is there, right? And yeah, we want it lightweight, but ultralight isn't really like, we're not trying to be, the gram counter, like get way down, that kind of thing. It's more about keeping it as light and durable as possible. So yeah, we're over at trekkerjoes.org. We started that. I actually started out on Etsy. And then we've pushed out the Shopify store there for just our own domain.
I Googled
Go
Trucker
ahead.
Joe's 2 days ago and saw the Etsy store, and I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah,
on Etsy as well. Yeah,
it's still out there. It's just not. I don't update it. I haven't been
yeah,
updating. Like, so if anything new comes out, it's not on there. That kind of thing. But I'll probably shut it down at some point.
yeah.
I
All right.
I finally switched. Etsy was an easy entryway. But anyway, I'm getting kind of off of that there. So yeah, truckerjoes.org. That's
Okay.
the website. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. I've been a little lax on posting on those lately. I've just kind of had some social media burnout, but
Yeah, I
takes a
I
lot
hear
of
you.
energy from
You
me.
have to take a break for that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We still see some stuff come in, but it's
Yeah.
yeah. I
So
like taking breaks from that.
I
It's
think you
good.
have to. I think you have to because
Yeah,
what I
definitely.
noticed, and I'm not getting political, but like you see some things, and it really starts to fire you up and starts to get you into a negative
Hmm.
space, and yet you have to just put put all this stuff down.
Yeah, it
Like
can if you go down some holes there. Yeah, for
oh
sure.
man, yeah, and then it
You know,
just consumes your whole life.
yeah. The other big thing before we move on is that, the sustainability, like the eco-friendliness, right? I mean, we're always looking for the gear, or well, not the gear, we're making the gear, but the fabrics um, that are going to be eco-friendly, where it's made with a certain process, so it's not harming the environment as much, right?
Oh wow.
Um, Even down to like our shipping packages, we try to get the compostable stuff, and not just the industrial compostable, but where you can do it at home, just throw it in the compost, or or it might be a recycled shipping container or something like that. We do reuse a lot of Amazon boxes, kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So try to send those back out and use them again. But yeah,
absolutely.
that's a big focus of us too, and not only that, but like giving back, right? Giving back to the
Mm.
community. I know there was a certain, I won't mention who, but a certain YouTube celebrity that had a certain, campaign. I think that was out there in terms of like giving back to the public areas, and just, I mean, obviously we're making money off of off of the outdoors and these places that don't really get a lot of support necessarily. So, one of the things that we're doing is giving back. So we give back 1% of our revenue, not profit, but revenue,
Hmm.
to a local organization in Austin. That's the Great Springs Project.
Oh,
That's kind of
okay.
a cool project. If you haven't, yeah, if you haven't checked that out, greatsprings.org,
Hmm.
greatspringsproject.org, I think. They're actually working to conserve like some of the major springs that are here in between Austin and San Antonio. So they're getting
Wow.
land easements and things like that to grab to help with the conservation of that. But not only they're doing that, but in the process of doing that, I guess they're building another trail, a 100-mile trail. Now this one's a multi-use, but you know, but I did
So it
ask them there that it's going to be hikeable and they're going to have camping and stuff like that. It's
so
fun.
is it gonna be the longest? Are they gonna try to take over the Lone Star Hiking Trail?
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what the projected total is right now. They're not, I mean, they're estimated for completion in like 2036, so it's a ways out still. But yeah, we've been really they've reached out several times every time we send a donation. Now we're not like a corporate sponsor or anything. I'm just sending them a donation every
Yeah.
time we get, hit certain threreshold to send to them for that
Oh, that's
1%. But
nice.
that's yeah.
And it's like little things like that help.
Yeah, pretty neat. It's they've been pretty good. They're doing some events locally too that I think we're going to try to get out to more this year. We haven't been to any of their events, but that's kind of something that we're looking to do this year, is to get a little more active in the local, community.
Okay. So if we take a step back, like
Mm-hmm.
like when I see Tracker Joe's and I see, like you're doing something, you're involved in something that you love, and I'm sure every hiker on on Facebook that sees the posts and stuff, like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, how did you even, like, you're just sitting there one day, a sewing machine drops into your front yard and you're just like, man, let's do this. Like, how did it start for you?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, the Lone Star was probably the kind of synthesis, the original, inspiring idea for it,
Mm-hmm.
and like doing that and kind of gearing up for that trail, right? And this was what, 3 years ago now. I mean, we've always been like outdoorsy, hiking and camping and all that stuff, prior to like I think that was like 2019 maybe. Prior to that, just in our lives, and we were climbers for a long, long time. We did a lot of that too. So I know you go a lot, but um, doing the Lone Star, gearing up for that, and just kind of getting into that backpacking, starting to escalate past like hiking, right, and getting into that backpacking realm. That was I was looking at gear and I was like, some of this, I kind of want something that does this, and I want something else that does this, and there's a few things out there, but I think I could make something like that. So I started making some little bags and stuff, and I gave them to family and things like that, and of course I was using a couple of them, and then it was from there we started making more things, and then the water bottle came about, the water bottle sleeve holder
Hmm.
that came about. Um,
Game changer right
but
there.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I love that thing. That's been our like number one. But anyway, we'll get to that, I guess.
Yep.
The but so no, a sewing machine didn't fall out of the sky or anything like that. But we already had kind of um, just a little domestic machine, right?
Yeah.
That we had because we were pretty big into Halloween, like every year for a while, and we kind of slacked on that lately. But um, so we would make like our own costumes and that kind of stuff for Halloween. I think there's a picture out somewhere on my Facebook or somewhere where I'm like Edgar Allan Poe, and I actually sewed the jacket that the
Oh wow.
which oh, it was hideous though. It was terrible, terrible seams, terrible everything, but it worked for a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
But so we had already kind of had a little bit of sewing experience, so that kind of helped, I guess facilitate this kind of idea. Mm. Well, it was just one other thing to always been kind of a serial maybe entrepreneurial, but more just hobbyist kind of thing. Where like,
And
and I think I heard in one of your episodes where when you get into something, it's like 150% kind of thing, and I tend to do the same thing myself. So
oh man,
it's
this room right
yeah,
here, I started a microgreen business, so I had microgreens here, I had poison dart frogs here, I had like this room has been everything, and I think
a lot
finally
of stuff.
I've found my love, hiking, climbing, backpacking,
Yeah,
and podcasting, like I'm really enjoying this. So yeah, who knows the future of this room, but yeah.
yeah, same way, right? That's I was doing jewelry for a while, like cutting my own cabochons and setting
Oh,
it in jewelry and silversmithy and stuff like that. So we've always had aquariums around, like fish, because I like fishing a lot. So
yeah,
it's always been a natural kind of piece of that. So that ties into the water. That's one of the other things about the Great Springs Project is the water, the water conservation and stuff like that. So being a fisherman, that's I kind of get that from a couple of different angles, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So what is it like owning your own ultralight gear company? What is it like day to day at Trekker Joe's?
Well, so currently I've gone back to like a partially full-time job during the day too. So these days I'm getting up and I'm working, most of the day there. Uh, and then in the evening we're kind of take a little bit of time to try to chill with kids and things like that. And then it's jump into here and what are the new orders? We got to make some make some gear. So producing the gear. And we try to batch things out so it kind of keeps things flowing a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, day to day, it's
Is it pretty
for a while there we
overwhelming?
were trying to. It can be, yeah. It's a lot. I'm running, basically running double double shifts
Yeah.
more or less. We joke around and not, it's like we joke around and like we created my own, my own sweatshop in here if you want to call it that. But
So is it all hands on deck?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Robin, my wife.
Yeah.
Um, she's involved and she does. I want to call it. We don't really worry about the titles or anything like that, but I want to call her
Yeah.
the operations officer, if you will. So she'll, she helps with like cutting and keeping. Here's your orders, that kind of thing, and I'm
Yeah.
just over there cranking them out, kind of stuff, and then trying to do social media at the same time when we're We're super active on it.
Oh
You know,
man.
taking videos of everything, product photos, keeping up with the website, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh man, it
Um,
sounds like a lot.
it can be. It's yeah. There's days when it's like, okay, I'm not doing anything today. I got to shut down for a bit.
Yeah, that kind of leads into the next question. Like, so
Hmm.
kind of, owning your own business and still trying to be a dad and be a husband and have all
Hmm.
those responsibilities. Like how is that?
It's challenging. It's for sure challenging. I yeah, I've got a task that I need to get done for Robin currently.
Yeah.
So you know, when we get off of here, I'll probably go do that, and then I'll come back in here and sew. So, um, but yeah, the biggest thing is like making sure that I set aside time. You know, and I've gotten called out a few times. I'm not gonna lie. I tend to
Yeah.
be a
Oh,
little
we
bit
all
of a
have.
workaholic. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we
oh
all
yeah,
have
I
for
definitely
sure.
get called out. It's like, hey, your son wants a little bit of time. I'm like, okay, okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
And that's like probably the most important thing is to have
Oh
that
yeah, got
security
to be
to
there.
get called out. Like, yeah, like,
Hmm.
for here, like, I get all wrapped up in hiking and every
Yeah.
Saturday climbing or every Sunday hiking. And then, Lori sometimes like, nope, not this weekend. Like, oh, okay. But, just having that communication, I think it's important. But
Yeah,
yeah, I couldn't
certainly.
imagine,
That's a big piece of it.
you know, being a dad, being a husband, all the normal responsibilities, and then, like running a business. Yeah, it's
It was a lot better
definitely,
when I was not working during the day, but well, I mean, I was, but you know, only at doing this.
yeah.
We'd actually tried to shift and we were going to go like full time family on the road kind of thing, trying to sell the house, but it was bad timing with the rates, et cetera,
Oh,
interest
yeah.
rates. So that didn't happen.
So is that still a goal?
Uh, I don't know. I think she got because we were in our RV for a few months in the summertime
She's like,
in Belton, Texas, and
"Oh,
I
man,
think it
no.
might have broke her. I'm not sure. I
Oh,
think
man."
that might be tabled for a bit.
I always joke around that it's my dream to live in a van. Like, man, I wanna live in a van, and Lori's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
you absolutely can. You can live in a van single, or you can live in a van and just park it in the driveway, and you can go out there,
Yep.
when you wanna have." But, yeah, I don't know that I could do it. Like, in the summers here,
Oh yeah,
and
not here. That was yeah,
yeah,
that
you would
was
have
not
to go up
really.
north.
Hmm.
And
Follow the weather kind of thing. Yeah.
like, for me, I don't know what it is, but I've seen, maybe because I've seen a lot of the United States, or,
Hmm.
traveled, like, I don't care to see other parts of the United States. I'm so enamored with Texas and everything that Texas has to offer. And, like, like, I can go to Guadalupe Mountains. Like, I
Yeah.
just did my 18th or 19th trip there, and I'm happy, and I love it, and maybe I'll sprinkle in a cap rock, and I'm content. Like, that's all I wanna see, that's all I wanna go do, and I'm happy with it. So,
Yeah. There's definitely a lot here. It's so. I mean, the terrain and things are so varied. Now you might have to drive a ways to get there, but yeah.
and yeah, and I don't mind I'll drive 10 hours just to
No.
go
Yeah.
hike a
Exactly.
weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
So, just coming back to Trader Joe's, what are some of the products that you're most what are your, okay, best sellers? And it may not be what you're most excited about, but, like, what are
Yeah.
some of the best, let's go with best sellers.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. The best sellers are obviously the water bottle sleeve is like number one. It tops the list.
Game freaking change. I'm
Yeah.
51 years old, and I again, this podcast, any post I do on social media is not sponsored by Trader Joe's, and I make a lot of videos
Oh.
about your products because they are truly awesome. But, like, I can use that water bottle holder with one hand, don't have to stop, don't have to take off my backpack. I can't bend my arms back anyway. I mean, that sucker is the
Mhm.
absolute best piece of gear that I've ever bought. That if you're looking at, first off, quality, the way it's made, the way it looks, you can customize it, but also, like, just practicality. I mean, this thing is a game changer. All right, so I'll let you
Yeah.
go. So what's your
Yeah,
best
that was the
sellers?
biggest thing for
Yeah.
me too. Yeah, that was the big thing for me too, is like reaching back or having to stop and just like, man, I want that accessible. So that was that obviously is our number one seller. With selling to a couple of different retailers around, one Garage Grown obviously being one of them, but Marion Outdoors in Virginia, which is right on the AT. They're getting some
I
stuff,
like
and
Coach.
yeah, Coach is pretty cool. That's I found him on
Yeah.
TikTok and
Yeah.
through like another small outdoor business, right? That's the other cool thing too, is the community that's within that kind of framework. But yeah, anyway, that's getting off topic. Sorry, I tend to ramble. Um, yeah, the bottle sleeve. I think the shoulder pouches would be kind of the next bit,
Yeah.
which are pretty awesome. You can get your phone. Like people ask me all the time, "Will this fit this phone?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I've designed it to fit pretty much every phone out there
That it's
currently,
amazing how
with
much stuff
some
you can.
extra room."
Yeah, you can carry so much crap. I have my phone, charger, and snacks all in this pocket.
Little too much sometimes, maybe, but
Yeah. 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 For
I've been
sure.
guilty of that. I've actually put my Zolio down the front of in that
Oh,
front mesh pocket. Yeah, and carry it that way because it fits in there. So it's a little tight getting in there, but I know it's not coming out either, right? So
yeah.
yeah, those I think the roll top bags do pretty good. The Dyneema roll top sacks, they're doing pretty
And
good. And then the zip pouches, the Dyneema zip pouches are after that. So.
what's amazing, like all the different types of material that you have for these things.
Mhm.
Like, how much research do you have to go into for like all this
For all
material
that,
and for all the purposes that like I guess materials made for different things, and it's crazy. And like
yeah,
I'm
it
just
really is.
watching some of the videos about the new material and stuff, and I'm like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, just all the customization that we're trying to give. It's yeah,
Hmm.
um, adding new materials, and one of the part of that is finding something new that fits more in line with that sustainability, or or something else that we're trying to do, in terms of what we're trying to make. Yeah, it can be kind of tough and figuring out. Like sometimes I'll do like several prototypes, obviously, to try to figure out which material works best in this particular function, right?
Yeah.
Like the phone thing, it's a little more stiff, and I've seen some people there. I've seen feedback on either side of that, like, well, it's a little stiff, or hey, I really love it because it holds its shape, that kind of thing. So it really just depends. But yeah, most of what's driving that is like I'm trying to get more and more recycled materials if we can.
Yeah. And like outside of, so like I think I have 5 shoulder water bottle holders. And what blew my mind, I was
There's
watching.
that many now. I've seen you
Yeah,
get quite a few. I'm like, I
I got
see
a
every
bunch.
time Jason orders, I'm like, hey Jason, you're gonna love that thing, man.
So I have like all my backpacks on the wall, and each
Hmm.
backpack has, I have 8
Wow.
backpacks, so I need to get uh 3 more the shoulder water bottle holders, because I like to just grab my backpack and go and not worry about
Yeah,
it.
and not have to move things around. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, what really got me is you posted, I think it was, what was that trip that you were just on up in North Dakota or South Dakota?
Oh yeah, the Centennial Trail,
Yeah, so you
in the
posted,
Black Hills. Yeah.
yeah, you posted a video or a
Mhm.
picture, and you had 2 water bottle holders.
Yes. Yeah.
And I
That
was,
was the
and
first trip I'd done that on too.
it blew my mind. And so my last, not this last trip to Guad, but the one in October, we were
Hmm.
we were backpacking up the Kittrick Ridge campsite. And so hiking out there, you have to have a lot of water. It's a heavy
No.
carry. And so I go, I'm
Yeah.
going to try it. So I think I carried, God, it had to be, I mean, I measured it all out to just perfection, like maybe 4 liters. So
Hmm.
5 liters. So 2 for the day cooking, and then 2 coming back down. And I had 2 liters on the front. That's a game changer with the weight
Yeah.
distribution in a heavy water carry. And that blew my mind. Like
That's same
I
here.
couldn't believe how different it felt instead of carrying
Yeah.
everything in the back where you could split that.
Yeah, that was I found that out myself on the Lone Star or the Centennial Trail when I went up there, and I was like, you know what? Phone usually is in my pocket anyway, or somewhere else, and if I'm carrying it here, I'll tend to put it back there. But I had one of the fanny packs on for the Centennial Trail. I was, just doing some more research on it and just taking it out to abuse it.
Yeah.
And I actually wound up having my phone in that a lot of the times. So I did the double water bottle sleeves, and yeah, I noticed that too. That was pretty. Just the weight distribution there was awesome. It was amazing. It made the pack feel lighter, to be honest.
It,
I mean, I know it
yeah,
isn't obviously, but just the way it's distributed it made a big difference
absolutely.
for me too.
And I'm not
Yeah,
I have these hyperlight backpacks, and they're just by nature not, they're not really made to be like a Osprey, like comfort wise. It's a difference.
right,
They're
right.
lighter, but man,
Hmm.
it was a game changer.
Yeah, you can sacrifice a little bit of the comfortability with the lighter, I think, in some cases. I'm not, not anybody in specific, but yeah.
So outside of the water bottle, the shoulder holders, I really love the
Mhm.
wallets that you guys make. I have two of them.
Thanks. Yeah.
These little
I yeah, that was
what are
I
they
know.
called? I love
Those
them.
are the what do you have? The Ultra Grid? Yeah, the little ultralight
Yeah.
wallet. That's the Robix too.
I
I
bought
think I'm gonna start doing those in the Ultra Grid too, which is there'll be 100, recycled. Um,
yeah,
and so we at least get some recyclable material within that.
yeah. I
But
bought
yeah, we
my
make those
son
with
one of
several
these
different.
too
Did
on
you?
on on our last squad trip. I bought him the
Where?
bags, the Dyneema bags, and the a wallet.
Now I
And
know that
he
I know just on the podcast we won't see this, but I've got the original prototype of the Dyneema
oh
with like
wow.
little bits falling off of it. I
Yeah,
mean, but that's just the pull tab, right? That you
yeah,
hold that. But this doesn't even have the waterproof zipper on it. It was it was the first prototype I think in the Dyneema.
yeah.
And this is 3 years and it's still going strong.
Jeez, I love
So
it.
and it's a daily. I use it on the daily too, not just
Yep.
backpacking or whatever.
And my son, when I gave this to him and all the bags, he's like, okay, what do I use this for? And I'm like, the bags, blah 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 blah. And he goes, what is this? I go, it's a wallet. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
what? I have a wallet. I go, put your stuff in this sucker, and then you wear it, and then you tell me. And he's like, oh yeah, I really
Yeah.
like it. So now he starts.
Yeah,
He's
it's you can't overfill it, right? So you're not
nope.
sitting on this huge thing. Or
Yeah,
I tend to keep mine in my side pocket too. Like I wear the Wrangler ATG jean pants a lot, and I've got that little side pocket. But the one thing I've noticed about those is I tried to make them just because I've seen wallets out there, and they'll just fit your cards and that kind of thing. But these, we sized them up just a tad, so that it's easier to get stuff in and out of, and if you don't have a crazy giant key ring, right?
yeah,
Uh, a set of keys will fit in there too. Depends on how many cards you got in there, obviously, but yeah, I usually stuff my keys in there and just tuck it, back in something that I'm not going to be getting in on a trip.
yeah. No, this is perfect size. I think if it was smaller, it would be a pain to get the cards in and
Yeah,
stuff. But no,
yeah.
I love it, and like I have. I know you can't see that, but I'm just grabbing underneath my monitors, and these are two wallets that I do not use anymore because I have that one.
Hmm.
Leather, nice
Yeah, I haven't
wallet.
used anything else since I
Yeah.
made that one either. Yeah, and with the Dyneema wallets, we're now seam sealing. I'm putting seam tape on the seams of the wallets too.
Oh wow.
So they're it, none. I don't claim anything is waterproof. We try to use, we use the YKK Aqua Guard or whatever they're called, so that it's a water resistant zipper. But there's always some gap at the edge of the zippers, that kind of thing. But for the most
And
part, we try to seal them up as best we can.
and it's funny you say that, and I don't know how this is going to come across, but hiking before with the not using this wallet, I
Hmm.
I pulled so I hiked one time 20 miles. I pull up to the Sonic in the drive-through and I grab my leather wallet. It's full of butt sweat or back sweat or whatever sweat. So it absorbs. And then my dollar bills and stuff were just sweaty. And I was
Yeah.
embarrassed to like hand this to the person. So I like
There you
I
go.
just drove off, and then was using my air conditioning to dry off the money, and then I went inside and just paid it. But with this wallet, I don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah,
So thank
yeah,
you for
the DWR material.
solving
You're
my
welcome.
my money sweat. Uh,
I'm glad it's butt sweat
issue.
proof.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know, butt sweat, back sweat, some kind of sweat,
Yeah,
but man, it
whatever
was
you want to call
bad.
it.
Yeah.
Sweat, sweat, sweat.
All right, so yeah, I mean, to the listeners, um, and I'm not just biased because Joe's a cool guy. Uh, he's
Yeah,
from
we're local.
Texas. He, you know, supporting Texas. I would support him no matter where he was because his products are wonderful, game changers. And I can say that just like Marion Outdoors. I buy stuff from him, and he's in Virginia.
Hmm.
He's just a cool guy.
Hmm.
He's an, you know,
Yeah, he is.
and like I always say, like I would much rather support Joe because I'm supporting his family than supporting REI. And then, for some CEO to have another beach house or another whatever.
Yeah,
So
definitely. The smaller ones too. That's
yeah,
generally where, like, if I'm buying stuff, I'm trying to look for, who can I support, or who can I get something from that's really cool. That's so I really, that's what I was saying about the community. I really love the community there that's in kind of this small outdoor hiking industry, right?
yeah.
There's a lot of good folks out there,
Have,
a lot of good equipment too.
hey, have you got the trail brush?
I do. I
That
haven't used it
that
yet, but I
little
have it.
that little
A little
toothbrush
tiny
that
thing.
fits on,
Yeah.
and that guy's a nice guy. I got one for Henning, and we were in the Guad, and he
Mhm.
opened up the box, and that little white plunger thing fell in the snow, and of course we weren't going to find it.
Oh man,
So I
that's gone.
messaged
Yeah.
him and just said, do you have any extras? And he goes, yeah, I'll send you one. And I'm like, no, 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 no,
Yeah, that's
no.
cool.
I'm not. You're not gonna. I'll buy some
Yeah.
from you, some more trail brushes, and then if you have an extra, just throw it in there. But you're not gonna just send me something, and and yeah, I'm not about that. So I bought two more trail brushes,
Yeah.
and they threw it in. But yeah, I mean
Yeah, I have yet to use it, unfortunately. We haven't been out in a while. So I was just talking to Robin earlier. She's like, we need to go on a hike. I'm like, yeah, we do.
Mhm.
Let's find
Well,
something.
I made a video using it, and I love it.
Nice. Nice.
All right, so yeah, I mean, outside of is all the products that you have now, is there any new products that you have in mind?
I think the newest thing is the redesign of the water bottle sleeves, and I think you've picked up a few of those with the Ultra Grid, right? That's
Yep.
kind of the newest thing. It's the same design, it's just with, I think, a little bit better of a material.
I don't know
And
how.
cooler because there's a lot more color options. That's one of the things. But
Hey,
I think my favorite piece of gear right now though is the fanny pack actually. So
yeah. Oh, those are
yeah,
cool. I haven't got one. That's one piece of gear that I haven't got, but
yeah,
yeah, that'll definitely
that
be on
thing.
the
Oh
list.
man, I was working on prototypes and trying to find, do I like this shape? I like that. It was like a year and a half in the making, trying to get
Yeah.
that thing just the way I wanted it. And I had the previous iteration. This is actually kind of cool. The previous iteration of it, that not what's out now, but the previous like prototype right before we released it. And we were actually out in the Guadalupes, um, with some buddies, Todd and Kyle, I think, and then and Joshua, I believe. And I was talking to Kyle about it. He's like, "Yeah, what would be really cool is like to have a back panel on it, where or like a sleeve kind of thing on the backside of it." So because that's what he found, when he was out on the CDT, was that having a strap around, and then, or having the strap clipped on the fanny pack, or clipped
Yeah.
around your waist with the fanny pack, and then having your backpack belt around that. He said it was kind of annoying, just having that piece underneath your backpack belt. So that was actually his idea, to add that, and I wound up kind of figuring out how we're going to put that on there. And so we designed that back sleeve on there so that you can tuck the belt in that's attached to the fanny pack inside
Mm-hmm.
that sleeve, and then just clip your backpacking belt through the sleeve in the back, and it holds the fanny pack.
Oh wow. And and also
Yeah,
like
so it
now
was kind of neat.
And now that I'm thinking about it, on big trips, if I'm having two shoulder water holders, then,
Mhm.
and then you're worrying about keeping your phone, that would be perfect.
Yeah. Now, again, I said I'm fishing. I fish a lot, so on the Centennial trip, um, I had actually already come out with these at that point in time, and I like keep like my fishing stuff in there and my phone and like my sunglass like covers and stuff like that, all
Yeah.
within there, within reach, and then like like a headlamp that's easily accessible. Now I've got one of the things I think it's helpful is if you don't have like the hip pockets, right,
Yeah.
on a backpack. Mine, the Gossamer, I've got the Gossamer Gear Gorilla, I think the 50 or whatever that is. It does have the hip pockets, but stuff those with snacks, and then I've got fishing stuff and other
You can
stuff in a
never
fanny
have
pack.
enough
So I'm like
pockets.
loaded down on my hip. But no, yeah, you certainly can't, especially easily accessible pockets. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So to the listeners, please log on, access Trekker Joe's. Is it .org, right?
Yeah, it's
Trekker
.org. I don't
.org
know why we picked
and
that. We just did.
and support Joe and his family, because outside of supporting a great family, you're going to be getting some great products. So do
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's, we try to do our best to make stuff that's going to hold up.
No, you do. You do. I
And
mean,
and
and
really, it's stuff that I would use. That's essentially what we're creating. Is like, would this be something that I would actually use? We've gone out on some pretty long hikes and things of that nature.
yeah. All right. So
So
now
try
to
to beat
trans.
everything up first.
Yep,
Sorry.
absolutely. Yeah, no, no. And so now transitioning from Trekker Joe's to Joe, h- how long you been hiking and backpacking?
Oh gosh, I've been hiking since I was a kid. I mean, I
Are
grew
you
up in
native
Central
Texan?
Texas. Oh yeah, yeah. I grew
Yeah.
up in about an hour west of Austin, kind of out in the hill
Okay.
country.
Yeah.
So Enchanted Rock was like our hangout a lot of the time when I was young, or like Lake Buchanan, kind of out in that area. Dad had a little small sailboat that we would take out, and we'd go hike at Enchanted Rock and hang out, and we'd go camping out there, and we'd go camping out at the lake. And I mean, we were always like doing outdoor stuff growing up, fishing, hunting. Haven't done much of that in a long time, but that's, that was when we were kids. So yeah, I mean, outdoors have been as far back as I can remember. And then started doing the rock climbing and stuff when I was when I lived in Ohio for a while, and we go down to the Red River Gorge all the time.
Oh yeah.
I was
Oh yeah.
actually down there rappelling with some buddies from like the work that I was doing at the time, and there were some guys rock climbing. They're like, "Hey, you ever tried going the other way?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me check that out." So tried to get. That was like my first climbing experience was down in the red, so that was pretty neat.
Oh, nice. It's
Yeah,
when I got into rock climbing, I'm afraid of heights. And
yeah.
so, this is one thing that my boys will do with me. They won't hike with me, but they'll climb with me. So,
Hmm.
we started climbing. And I remember, I think I probably got top rope certified a little too fast, and but because they were doing it, and I just remember, they're belaying me, and I'm on a 5'8", like go
Hmm.
halfway up, and like, all right, let me down. And they're like, no, Dad, you can
That's
do
it.
it. Keep going. And I'm like,
Cool that they're pushing you.
this is a kid friendly show, so I'm gonna lessen what I actually said as like, let me down now, or I'm gonna ground you. But no,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, sure, Dad.
yeah, uh-huh. So if you think about, you talking about hiking, backpacking has been, um, you
Yeah, the backpacking, not so much. Sorry, I didn't jump in there. The backpacking, well, I always kind of wanted to, but it never really, I don't know, did. So Robin was the one that actually was like, "Hey, I think I want to start backpacking," and this was, what, 3.5, 4 years ago.
yeah.
So we went. We're like, "Well, I got a backpack. Let's go get you one," right? So I mean, we kind of had some climbing stuff, like packs from climbing and things like that. So I think
Hmm.
we upgraded her pack or something. And I had like a we went to I think we went to Los Maples,
Oh,
and
that's a
this
great
was
one, man.
yeah, it's beautiful. I love that place.
And that's no
It's not a
joke.
huge park, but it's
No, no,
gorgeous. Yeah, it's really pretty. Yeah.
you head out to campsite H on the west side of the park. It's about a 3.5 mile hike out
Hmm.
there. Man, it's no joke.
Yeah.
Like
I
that
think we
was
went to the one that was on top. So
Yeah. Oh, so
that
I
big
think it's
steep
campsite B,
B or C,
probably.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And no joke, I had like 50 pounds of gear. We had like a big tarp, and
Oh
at that
man.
point, I was still had a big Agnes tent, so I was a little
Yeah.
bit lighter on the tent side, but it was a big Agnes tent from like 2007, that I'd had for 14 years, and the poor thing, the water coating. That's why I was carrying the tarp because the water coating was just not really any good anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Lost
yeah,
Maples.
that was
That's the park that Lori that we've been our two backpacking trips were both at Lost Maples.
yeah, that's a beautiful park. As far as state parks in Texas go, that one was like
Oh,
it's
it's
up there
top. Yeah, yeah.
for me.
Oh, we
Yeah,
and we did Caprock. So she's been on three.
I haven't done that one yet.
Oh man. Well, let me know when
Yeah,
you
I
go because I'll let you know where to hit.
was thinking about doing the trailway just to maybe.
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's if I'm gonna do that, I probably ought to do it pretty soon before it gets too hot out there.
Oh yeah. It gets crazy hot out there for sure. Even like in the
Yeah,
wintertime, like it's
that might
almost
be a
like
fall or
Guad.
winter trip.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
almost like Guad. Even though it's winter and it's 29 degrees, there's no clouds and that sun is just
Yeah,
hitting, and it even though it's cold, it can get pretty miserable.
it'll beat down on you, that's for sure. Especially
So
with no shade. That's yeah.
yeah, it's a cooker. So what would you say hiking means to you? Like, like in some previous episodes with Henning, John, and Sam, we talked about some people use hiking just to kind of like mentally have a break. Some people use it for exercise. Like, I go hiking just because I don't know that I do it for to relieve stress or for exercise. I just love getting outdoors, listening to the birds, and just kind of getting away from the day-to-day grind. And it's a bonus if anybody from my family goes with me, but just to have that. So what about you? So
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is unplugging. That's
yeah.
really kind of what it is. I mean, because I'm on, with the day job I'm doing, consulting stuff on the computer and things like that. So it's looking at a screen a lot and trying to just reconnect, right? And that's kind of a big, just embracing nature and getting back down to some basics. That's what I found, like on when I was doing when I first did the Lone Star, the 96 miles or
Hmm.
96.4 or whatever it was. I was like, oh man, this was so simple. It was get up and eat, walk,
Hmm.
stop and eat, walk, walk, eat. Me, I eat a lot, so I'm always snacking. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of the simplicity of it was what really attracted me in the first place. It was just that like unplugging and focusing on the task at hand and just that.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I like fishing too. Is right, you get into that same kind of mode. Mm. It's like
And
I'm just doing this, and everything else just kind of drops away.
yeah. And when you find yourself hiking, I mean, probably a while back, maybe it was you, but now is it more? Do you find it with your family, like immediate family, wife and son,
Yeah,
or
they
is it?
it's we've done a couple of trips together, and I'd like to do more. Um,
Yeah.
my wife has my wife Robin, she's got fibromyalgia, so um, we have to kind of change the targets
Hmm.
generally for the day, just with the family and taking Bash. I think Bash is he's 11. He's our son that's in the house.
Hmm.
Um, the last one, the other three are out of the house. But I think we ruined him because we took him down for a 2 day on the Lone Star. I think he was like 8 years old, and we went down there to do kind of a point to point. We were just doing sectioning at that point in time, and man, that 8-year-old kid, we pushed him to do 17 miles in 2 days, and I think we ruined him to be honest.
Oh.
'Cause one, he fell and hurt his hand like early on in it. So he
Yeah.
landed on a branch, and unbeknownst to us, we thought we got everything, but unbeknownst to us, there was a little piece of wood. And I know I'm like holding my hand up. I know people can hear that, but there's a little piece of wood that went into like the palm of his into the
Oh
pad on
man.
his thumb, and we didn't know it was in there. So he was hurting the whole trip, and just didn't have the right shoes. That we were this was still early on for us even, so we didn't we hadn't had all those things dialed in kind of yet. So
17 miles
yeah,
on his first trip.
17 miles on his first trip at 8. So it's
Is he
like,
does he
I
still
think we
talk to
pushed
you?
it a little too hard. He did. He actually, we were about a mile from Trailhead 8 on that road walk, and he finally was like, Dad, I can't do anymore. I'm like, okay, bud, let's sit down.
No.
So I sat down on the side of the road with him, and Robin finished the last mile and picked up the car and came back and got us. But yeah, he was a trooper for that. I mean, but I think he was in pain, and ever since he's kind of been like, I mean, we've done a couple of other things. We've taken like Yellowstone. We went
Yeah.
backpacking in Yellowstone, but we kept it for like 10 miles, over 2 days, that kind of thing. Um, and then I want to say somewhere else, but I forget where. But the Yellowstone thing, we got him to do that, I think, because his cousins were coming.
Oh
So
yeah,
we kind
yeah.
of took all the cousins too that aren't necessarily outdoorsy, you know. So we did a short thing in Yellowstone and got chased by a bison, et cetera, et cetera. That was, I know you can't gloss past that part, right?
No,
there was
yeah.
a, there was and this is part of his experience too, right? That is like his second backpacking experience. We, it was kind of June, so it was calving season, and there were two herds. Well, what we thought were two herds, I actually thinking back, I think it might have been one herd, but there was a really good separation between them, right? So we went
Yeah.
between on the trail and on. Um, but looking back, I think maybe it was just a single herd, and they just happened to be far apart. So at any rate, the alpha did not like us being there and
Oh
tail up,
man.
and he's like, he never ran or charged or anything like that, but he was walking, like he was walking from the side, and basically he was going to cut us off the trail, right? So I'm like, hey, we need to move because I noticed him, and that guy followed us for like a mile. I don't think those kids have ever
Jeez.
walked a mile that fast in their life, but they have at this point. But yeah, he was persistent about us leaving, so we obliged him, obviously, because let's I don't want to tangle with that guy.
That happens at Caprock. So that's I think the
Yeah, I would
only
assume it
place
might.
where like Texas, the natural bison are located.
Hmm.
And so you have the main herd, and they're kind of, you don't really see them on the outskirts of the trails, but I don't know if it's the young guys that they kick out of the herd, or it's the old bulls that
Hmm.
the new boss kicks the old guys out. But when you get on the outskirts of the trails, there's some solo um,
Yeah, you run
guys
into a
out
few.
there, and yeah, I mean, I stepped around a bush, and one of those solo bison were like 3 feet from me, and I didn't see
Ooh,
it.
that's
I
close.
walked around the corner, and
Yeah.
he's right there. He jumps a little bit, I jump, and we're just looking at each other, and I slowly just start to walk away, and like, I mean, he didn't, like, I didn't see anything, just the initial shock of
Yeah.
being, we
Yeah.
both got scared. And then coming back, he was standing on the trail, and I just started walking towards him, and he got off. So that was my first experience. And 2 days before that, I didn't realize it, but I saw a video. A lady got gored out there. And with that, we've come to an end of part one with our episode with Joe. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have creating it. Don't forget to tune in to part two, as we will continue discussions on hiking and backpacking in Texas. Until next time, happy trails, safe travels, and as always, thank you for listening.